Welcome to English literature class, my dear students of class 12th. Now, you uh, have been familiarized by the story, The Sound Machine. Now, you knew the summary of the chapter. Now, story The Sound Machine in detail by Roald Dahl. It was a warm summer evening, and Klausner, the protagonist, walked quickly through the front gate and around the side of the house and into the garden at the back. He went on down the garden until he came to a wooden shed, and he unlocked the door, went inside, and closed the door behind him. The interior of the shed was an unpainted room. Now what was the condition situation of the interior of the shed? It was unpainted room. Against one wall on the left there was a long wooden workbench, and on it among a littering of wires. The wires were littered, spread untidily, and batteries and small sharp tools. There stood a black box about 3 feet long, the shape of a child's coffin. Coffin, an oblong box, roughly a rectangular shape, in which a dead body or dead person is buried. Here there was a long wooden workbench, and on it among a littering of wires. The wires were spread untidily, and batteries and small sharp tools. Klausner moved across the room to the box. The top of the box was open, and he bent down and began to push in a particular direction. And Pierre looked inside it among a mass of different colored wires and silver tubes. He picked up a piece of paper that lay beside the box, studied it carefully, put it down, peered inside the box, and started running his fingers along the wires, tugging, pulling gently at them to test the connections, glancing back at the paper, then into the box, then at the paper again, checking each wire. He did this for perhaps an hour. This work was done near about an hour. Then he put a hand around to the front of the box where there were 3 dials, and he began to twiddle. He began to turn them nervously, watching at the same time the movement of the mechanism inside the box. All the while he kept speaking softly to himself, nodding means inclining the head up and down, nodding like this, nodding his head, smiling sometimes, his hands always moving, the fingers moving swiftly, deftly, skillfully inside the box, his mouth twisting into curious shapes when a thing was delicate or difficult to do, saying yes, yes, and now this one, yes, yes, but is this right? Is it? Where's my diagram? Where's my diagram? He asked himself. Ah, yes, of course, yes, that's right. And now, good, yes, yes, yes. His concentration was intense. His concentration was excessive. His movements were quick. There was an air of urgency about the way he walked, of breathlessness, of strong suppressed excitement. There was urgency in his room. He walked breathlessly. He was so much excited, as it was his first experiment on sound machine. Suddenly he heard footsteps on the gravel, stony path outside, and straightened and turned swiftly as the door opened, and a tall man came in. It was Scott. It was only Scott, the doctor. Well, the doctor said, so this is where you hide yourself in the evenings? Hello, Scott, Claudina said. I happened to be passing. I was passing by from this way. So I intended to meet you here, the doctor told him. So I dropped in to see you how you were. There was no one in the house, so I came down here. How is the throat of yours behaving? How is your throat? It's all right, it's fine. Now I am fine, okay. Now I am here, I might as well have a look at it. Have a look at it. I am fine. Please don't trouble, I am quite cured, I am sure. I am fine. The doctor began to feel the tension in the room. He looked at the black box on the bench. Then he looked at the man. Man means Klausner. You have got your hat on? He said. Oh, have I? Klausner reached up, removed the hat and put it on the bench. The doctor came up closer and bent down to look into the box. What's this? He said, making a radio. The doctor was very curious to know which type of mechanism is this and what type of work Klausner doing at present. No, just fooling around. It's got rather complicated looking innards. Inner parts of the machine were very complicated. Yes, Klausner seemed tense and distracted, diverted. What is it? The doctor said. It's a rather frightening looking thing, isn't it? A very horrible thing. What is this? It's just an idea. Yes, it has to do with sound, that's all. The machine is all about sound. Good heavens, man, don't you get enough of the sort of thing? Don't you get embarrassed of the sort of thing all day in your work? I like sound, Claudina said. So it seems, doctor, it seems as you are working hard with this machine. The doctor went to the door, turned and said, well, I won't disturb you. Glad your throat's not worrying you anymore. You are fine. There's no sore throat now. But he kept standing there. The doctor kept standing there looking at the box, intrigued. Intrigued means getting interested. Intrigued by the remarkable complexity of its inside. Curious to know what this strange patient of he was up to. What is going to do? What was it really for? He asked. You have made me inquisitive. Klausner, you have made me very curious. Klausner looked down at the box, then at the doctor, and he reached up and began gently to scratch the lobe of his right ear, as he was intention. Lobe, this is lobe. Then he paused. There was a pause. There was silence in the room. The doctor stood by the door, waiting, smiling. All right. I will tell you if you are interested. I will tell all about it if you are getting interested. There was another pause, and the doctor could see that Klausner was having trouble about how to begin. It was very difficult for him how to begin the experiment. He was shifting from one foot to other, tugging at the lobe of his ear, looking at his feet, and then at last slowly he said, well, it's like this. The theory is very simple, really. The human ear, the main line starts from here. The human ear, you know, that it can't hear everything. It can't hear everything, human ear. There are sounds that are so low pitched or so high pitched that it can't hear them. Yes, the doctor said, yes. Well, speaking very roughly, and note so high that it has more than 15,000 vibrations. It has more than 15,000 vibrations a second. We can't hear it. We can't hear it if the note is so high that it has more than 15,000 vibrations a second. We can't hear it. Dogs have better ears than us. You know, you can buy a whistle whose note is so high pitched that you can't hear it at all, but a dog can hear it. Yes, I have seen one, the doctor said. Of course you have. Of course you have, and of the scale higher than the note of that whistle, there is another note, a vibration if you like, but I prefer to think of it as a note. You can't hear that one either, and above that there is another and another rising right up the scale for every and ever, an endless succession of notes, an infinity of notes. There is a note, if only our ears could hear it, so high that it vibrates a million times a second, and another a million times as high as that, and on, higher and higher, as far as numbers go, which is infinity, in eternity, eternity without end, beyond the stars. Klausner was becoming more animated, more lively. Every moment was very vigorous. Every moment he was a small, frail man, weak man, nervous and twitchy, nervous and anxious, with always moving hands. He was in great tension, his large head inclined, slanted towards the left shoulder, as though his neck were not quite strong enough to support it rigidly. His face was smooth and pale, almost white, and the pale grey eyes that blinked and peered from behind a pair of little spectacles were bewildered, confused, unfocused, remote. He was a frail, nervous, twitchy little man, a moth of a man. A moth of a man means anything that gradually and silently it consumes or wastes another thing. Dreamy and distracted, suddenly fluttering and animated. And now the doctor, looking at the strange pale face and those pale face grey eyes, felt that somehow there was about this little person a quality of distance, of immense, immeasurable distance, as though the mind were far away from where the body was. Though he was present there, though Klausner was present there physically, but mentally he was not present there, as he was totally bewildered, totally confused. The doctor waited for him to go on Klausner's side and clasped his doctor's hand, tightly together. I believe, he said, speaking more slowly now, that there is a whole world of sound about us all the time that we cannot hear. It is possible that up there in those high-pitched, inaudible regions, there is a new exciting music being made, with subtle harmonies and fierce grinding discords, a music so powerful that it would drive us mad if only our ears were tuned to hear the sound of it. There may be anything, for all we know, there may. Yes, the doctor said, but it is not very probable. The doctor said, but it is not very probable. It is not possible. Why not? Why not? Klausner pointed to a fly sitting on a small roll of a copper wire on the workbench. You see that fly? What sort of noise is that fly making now? Which type of noise the fly is making now? None. None that one can hear. We can't hear. But for all we know, the creature may be whistling like mad on a very high note, or barking or croaking or singing a song. It's got a mouth, hasn't it? It's got a throat. The doctor looked at the fly and he smiled. He was still standing by the door with his hand on the doorknob. Well, he said, so you are going to check up on that? Some time ago, Klausner said, I made a simple instrument that proved to me the existence of many odd inaudible sounds. Often I have sat and watched the needle of my instrument recording the presence of sound vibration in the air when I myself could hear nothing, and those are the sound I want to listen to. I want to know where they come from and who or what is making them. The inaudible sound, the sound which cannot be heard, he wanted to hear that sound with the help of that machine. And that machine on the table there, the doctor said, is that going to allow you to hear these noises which cannot be audible? It may, who knows? So far I have no luck, but I have made some changes in it, and tonight I am ready for another trial. I am going to try. This machine, he said, touching it with his hand, is designed to pick up sound vibration. The machine, he is not elaborating the machine to the doctor. He says that it is a machine designed, it is designed to pick up sound vibration that are too high pitched for reception by the human ear, and to convert them to a scale of audible tones. I tune it in it almost like a radio. And what happens, you will study in the next video. Thank you so much, students.